It's a whole new ballgame now that the 14-game postseason field has been finalized.
I will concede that this is the best shot that the Dallas Cowboys have had to make the Super Bowl since 1995.
We present to you our 2023/24 NFL postseason predictions and Super Bowl 58 winner. AFC wildcard round. Number 2 Buffalo Bills versus number 7 Pittsburgh Steelers. For the third time in 4 years, Josh Allen's squad enters the postseason as the AFC's number 2 seed. Buffalo reeled off 5 straight wins following a 6-6 start to lock down a 4th straight division crown. The Steelers required 3 straight victories and some help to sneak in as the AFC's final wildcard team. Never fully count out a Steelers team coached by future Hall of Famer Mike Tomlin, but it's kinda tough to see Mason Rudolph outdueling Allen on his own turf. Also, the Steelers don't have TJ Watt. Pittsburgh's D might keep it close for a bit, but limitations on both sides of the ball will add up to an easy Buffalo victory. Prediction: Bills 30, Steelers 16. AFC wildcard round. Number 3 Kansas City Chiefs versus number 6 Miami Dolphins. Tyreek Hill makes his long-awaited return to Arrowhead Stadium for the first time as an opponent, and in a playoff game no less. The defending champions defeated Tua Tagovailoa's squad 21-14 in their sloppy and mistake-filled game in Germany back in Week 9. Kansas City's offense has been vulnerable all season long, but Miami's defense has been ripped apart by opposing QBs on a winning team. Patrick Mahomes is still the best player in football, and nothing tells us that he's going to struggle against this group. The Chiefs also had the number 2 ranked defense in football during the regular season. It's one of the few units that can contain the Tagovailoa and Hill-led offense. Throw in the fact that KC has way more big game experience than the young Dolphins, and yeah, it all adds up to a victory for the defending champs. Prediction: Chiefs 27, Dolphins 20. AFC wildcard round. Number 4 Houston Texans versus number 5 Cleveland Browns. The Texans were the biggest surprise of the regular season, claiming the AFC South with a 10-7 record after winning a combined 11 games over the previous 3 years. And it's only fitting that CJ Stroud will make his NFL playoff debut against the Cleveland Browns, the very team that traded for Deshaun Watson, which in turn put Houston on the path to land Stroud. DeMeco Ryans' squad is a feel-good story to root for, but so is Browns QB Joe Flacco. The Super Bowl 47 MVP, whom Cleveland only signed in November, guided the banged-up Browns to the playoffs by winning 4 of 5 starts. 2 young teams with plenty of star power on both sides of the ball. But ultimately, it's hard to go against the home team with a better QB. Not to mention that Flacco's high interception totals pose a problem for a stingy Houston D that racked up 24 interceptions in the regular season. Prediction: Texans 24, Browns 21. NFC wildcard round. Number 2 Dallas Cowboys versus number 7 Green Bay Packers. The Cowboys and Packers renew their storied playoff rivalry with one notable change. Aaron Rodgers is no longer in Green Bay, meaning the Cowboys aren't guaranteed to lose to the Cheeseheads again. Sunday will mark the 3rd Cowboys-Packers playoff showdown since 2014. Rodgers' Packers ousted Dallas in the 2014 and 2016 divisional rounds, but it feels like things will be a bit different for Dak Prescott and company this time around. Green Bay didn't have a single guy with 1,000 yards of offense, which is problematic going up against Dan Quinn's stingy and opportunistic defense. Jordan Love was a nice feel-good story in all this year, but, well, the Packers are just overmatched in every area against Dak and the star-studded boys. Mike McCarthy gets his revenge. Prediction: Cowboys 34, Packers 20. NFC wildcard round. Number 3 Detroit Lions versus number 6 Los Angeles Rams. To be perfectly frank, I can't think of the last time there was so much hype on a wildcard round game. Rams QB Matthew Stafford makes his first visit to Ford Field as a member of the opposition, and it comes in the playoffs no less. Detroit hasn't won a playoff game since 1991. Ford Field will be rocking alright, but not by the 4th quarter. Our first projected upset here has the more battle-tested and experienced Rams, 2 years removed from a Super Bowl by the way, silencing Detroit in a thriller that goes down to the very wire. Prediction: Rams 24, Lions 20. NFC wildcard round. Number 4 Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus number 5 Philadelphia Eagles. For the third straight year, the Bucs will open their postseason by hosting an NFC East wildcard club at Raymond James Stadium. They crushed the Eagles here 2 years ago, but were destroyed by the Cowboys 1 year later in Tom Brady's final NFL game. This year's Buccaneers, led by a reborn Baker Mayfield, were surprisingly better than the 2022 group. But the first obstacle? The defending NFC champion Philadelphia Eagles, who limped into the playoffs as losers of 5 of their last 6. The Bucs are rolling, and the Eagles have been faltering. But sometimes it just comes down to who has the better QB, and also who has the biggest stars. Eagles are just deeper on both sides of the ball. Prediction: Eagles 27, Buccaneers 14. AFC Divisional Round. Number 1 Baltimore Ravens versus number 4 Houston Texans. The Ravens gave CJ Stroud a rude welcoming to the NFL back in Week 1, cruising to an easy 25-9 victory at home. 4 months later, a rematch awaits at M&T Bank Stadium. The Ravens will be a heavy favorite here, but don't count out Houston. We are expecting a close game, but the Ravens will prevail by a touchdown. Prediction: Ravens 30, Texans 23. AFC Divisional Round. Number 2 Buffalo Bills versus number 3 Kansas City Chiefs. If our calculations are correct, the Bills and Chiefs will renew their epic playoff rivalry for the 3rd time in 4 years. This time, however, Buffalo will carry home field advantage. They got identical records, yes, and the Chiefs are the defending champs, but Josh Allen has always given Steve Spagnuolo's D a headache, and Sean McDermott's D just has a way of making life difficult for Mahomes. Prediction: Bills 23, Chiefs 17. NFC Divisional Round. Number 1 San Francisco 49ers versus number 6 Los Angeles Rams. 2 years after the Rams took down the 49ers at home in the NFC Championship game, San Francisco gets an opportunity at some sweet comeuppance. It's well known by now that Kyle Shanahan has mostly owned Sean McVay. As fun a story as this year's Rams have been, they just don't have the difference makers on defense to contain all of Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, and Brandon Ayuk. It might be close for 2 to 3 quarters, but the 49ers will have started to pull away by the midway portion of the 4th quarter. Prediction: 49ers 34, Rams 17. NFC Divisional Round. Number 2 Dallas Cowboys versus number 5 Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles' late season collapse allowed the Cowboys to snag the NFC East Division crown. Dallas and Philly split the 2022 and 2023 season series, with the home team winning each time. But if you stack up the 2 teams now, I think it's rather obvious that the Cowboys are heads and shoulders better than their bitter rivals. We know that the Cowboys choke every year, but Dak Prescott is playing miles better than Jalen Hurts. The Eagles secondary can't stop a nosebleed, whereas the Cowboys have an elite secondary and a scary good pass rush that can get home to Hurts. Prediction: Cowboys 31, Eagles 20. AFC Championship Game. Number 1 Baltimore Ravens versus number 2 Buffalo Bills. Sorry to lack creativity with this prediction, but the Ravens and Bills are just 2 of the most complete and well-rounded AFC teams. Jackson and Allen have carried their respective teams on their backs with their dynamic dual-threat styles of play, and both have enjoyed the fortunes of playing with deep supporting casts. The game feels like a bit of a coin flip, but we are narrowly going to side with the Bills here. They simply have way too much momentum right now. These Bills are well-suited to give Lamar some trouble. Buffalo, ladies and gentlemen, wins an overtime thriller for their first Super Bowl berth in 30 years. Prediction: Bills 27, Ravens 24, overtime. NFC Championship Game. Number 1 San Francisco 49ers versus number 2 Dallas Cowboys. Love or hate either or both teams, but this will be a juicy matchup loaded with compelling storylines. Is 3 times a charm for the 49ers, who finally get over the hump after losing the last 2 NFC Championship games? Or do the Cowboys show that 3 times a charm by finally taking down the 49ers? Something would have to give here. How do you go against the 49ers here? They've absolutely owned Dak and company, and even the Cowboys' D has no answers for the 49ers offense with Brock Purdy at the helm. Dallas will keep it close, but 3-time is not going to be a charm for Mike McCarthy's squad. Prediction: 49ers 31, Cowboys 24. Super Bowl 58, San Francisco 49ers versus Buffalo Bills. We are going with a better all-around team. Nick Bosa, Javon Hargrave, Chase Young, and Fred Warner will get to Allen and force him to stay in the pocket. Not an ideal matchup for the Bills' offense here. And as good as the Buffalo's D is, they have not faced a juggernaut like the 49ers' star-studded group. It's going to be a riveting back-and-forth affair between these two clubs, but the likes of McCaffrey, Bosa, Warner, and Debo are just going to be too much for Buffalo to overcome. Bills Mafia heartbreak continues, while the 49ers finally add Lombardi Trophy number 6 to the trophy room, with Run CMC taking home big game honors. Prediction: 49ers 28, Bills 24. But who do you think will win Super Bowl 58? Let us know in the comment section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.